I have to say, I was blown away about how they dominated that game. Your thoughts on the Cardinals just taking down the Clemson Tigers last weekend?
I mean, I was surprised in the way that it happened because I wouldn't have expected them to, as you said, dominate in the way that they did and kind of win that going away. And if you look statistically, Clemson outgained them yardage-wise. They had more first downs. They had a longer time of possessions. They didn't have any turnovers. But outside of early on, they were basically never in the game after the first block field goal.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it really came down to those field goals for Clemson and the special teams play of Louisville, because that first block set up a touchdown. Louisville went up 17-7 and never looked back after that. So it kind of just, confirmed that Louisville's been a good team all season. I mean, their 3 losses, Notre Dame, SMU, and Miami, all teams that are ranked currently, all teams that, Notre Dame has 1 loss, but the other 2 are and SMU has a loss, but they're undefeated in conference play. And they lost to good teams by 1 score.
Yep.
So it's not a bad team that has 3 losses, but, they definitely put maybe the final nail in Clemson's postseason hopes.
Yeah.
It's going to take basically a miracle now for Clemson to get in.
I know. And to your point, though, you did say that this is the best team Clemson's going to play, and most talented team since Georgia. And, hey, look what happened. The 2 talented teams they played, they took L's down there. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's I also said I wanted chaos. So
he did.
I still want to see more of it. I mean, it might be a little bit in the SEC this week when your Bama boys play LSU. The loser is out, I think. That'll be 3 losses.
We've always been nice to you. We've always been nice to you.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you, who do you think, who's your pick for that game? Because you were right last week.
I just said the loser. What'd you say, Pam?
Who are you picking?
Pam, we're not even on that topic yet.
He's the one who started talking about it.
Okay, but go ahead.
Yeah, I was just asking you your thoughts on who do you think will win that game, and that was going to kind of be the first question I was going to ask you about, of course, was the college football playoff rankings. What you thought about those. We won't talk about Alabama yet.
Thank you.
Well, I do think that they gave props to the Big Ten, and I was kind of surprised, but I was glad to see that Indiana was in the top 10 because, I felt like going even back to the BCS and stuff when they would do these rankings, it was really heavy-handed, and the benefit of the doubt was always given to the perennial football plowers. Mm-hmm. And clearly Indiana is not that. And they've been undefeated this year, but they haven't really played anybody. Their best win might be Washington. It might be winning at Michigan State, which they just did last weekend. But this team, they've basically obliterated everybody on their schedule. They've beaten bad teams like they're supposed to be beat, essentially, and never trailed until last week against Michigan State. The Spartans got up 10-0 in the first quarter, and then Indiana reeled off the next 47 points and one going away. So Michigan comes to town this weekend, and, that'll be at least a bigger brand test. I don't think Michigan's that good this year, but to see Indiana in the top 10, and they would be in the playoff according to that ranking if it started today, I thought was a fair way to go about assessing the teams.
So we are talking to C.L. Brown with the Louisville Courier. That's such a great segue to my next question for you, C.L. I was talking yesterday in reference to this poll and talking about Alabama, and you just mentioned the brand. And I said, they're really much probably there because of brand equity. Because do you think they really belong in that position that they're in?
Say stuff like
that. They have a win over Georgia, which you can't just discount that because of their losses and kind of the way that they've maybe stumbled in some games. But I think they deserve to be considered, and I think this, like I said, I think this game against LSU is a big game for them. I think it's an elimination game. On one hand, LSU at night is tough, boy.
Yeah, that's a reason.
Brian Kelly, I think, is 13-0 in night games in the other Death Valley, the SEC Death Valley.
Wow.
And I think they've won like 15 or 17 straight home night games. But I also think Kalen DeBoer, head coach at Alabama, is a big game coach. I mean, he kind of, his record in these kind of situations is pretty good, and we saw that the way they came out against Georgia in that first big game situation for him as head coach, and how they, just jumped on Georgia from the start in that first half. So it's going to be an interesting game. I don't have a prediction for it.
Thank you.
Now,
well, I got one. I got one. I'll save it for tomorrow. I got one.
Guess you heard that. And I don't know what it is. We're talking with C.L. Brown from Louisville Courier, and friend of the show, and I thought he was a friend of mine, but
he is.
I mean, but for some reason, sometimes when you talk about stuff, I don't feel the love, but it's okay. I mean, it's all right. I see you. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
That's his new word.
I see you, CL. But switching gears just a little bit, basketball kicked off this week, and we got a chance to look at some early teams, look at some early things. I know how you are. I know you've been looking for big things from this new revamped Louisville squad, coaching staff, and a couple of extra players. Give me your early look, early prediction, not prediction, but early assessment on what they look like coming out the gate.
Oh, they look like a competent team again. They look like they're going to be competitive. Not saying that they're going to jump into the top 3 of the ACC, which I don't think is going to happen, but they're going to be a tough out. Like, they're going to be a team that you have to play well against to beat, or you're going to lose that game. They have a big test Saturday, though. I mean, it's. I'm glad to see it. You usually don't see a big opponent like this
early
coming to, playing a home game, not even going to a neutral site. But Tennessee is coming to town on Saturday.
Yeah.
They're already doing the whiteout promotion. I'm like, dang, it's still kind of early for that stuff in basketball, but
get it early, get it started soon.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they call it at the Allen Wade. Now, what game is this? Because his dad coached.
The Wade Houston Bowl.
The Wade Houston Bowl. That's what it was.
Yeah,
Wade Houston. Yeah, that's right.
Wade was an assistant under Denny Crum at Louisville, and then was the head coach at Tennessee.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, it's going to be a lot of games like that. Carolina, Kansas, right off the bat tomorrow. I love seeing this, though, because it really has no determination. Like, you lose the game, it don't mean you're not going to make the NCAA tournament, but we get to kind of measure up who's who and what's what early in the season, and we don't have to try and compare from teams playing bad teams. Like, we should know clearly off after tomorrow night where Carolina stands.
Yeah, all these preseason rankings and all that stuff. That only lasts like a week.
We talking to C.L. Brown, Mr. ACC, Mr. Basketball, Mr. God knows what's going on, and he rock with us each and every Thursday, same place, same time. I have to say this though, I was in Cameron and I saw I think the best player on the Duke basketball team, and his name wasn't Cooper Flagg.
Con Canople.
I mean,
I'm telling you, man.
Good game. It's still Cooper Flagg. Like, Cooper.
I know. I'm just trying to set it up. Come on, CL. Don't tear it down so like that.
CL chuckled. CL said, "Yeah, it's still Cooper Flagg."
He's like, he done lost his mind.
Yeah, that Duke wasn't just gonna have one guy, and John Shire's done a great job of just kind of having a seamless transition in terms of the recruiting. Still at the highest level.
That's a good name. Seamless transition recruiting.
Yeah, they're going to have a bunch of dudes.
yeah, they do.
How it all comes together, that's really what
key.
Factors in to where they'll be. I'll be in Atlanta next week. I'll get to see them when they play Kentucky in the Champions Classic. So I'm looking forward to that, being, seeing in person, and forming my own kind of opinions on how good they'll be.
My last statement, because we got to go. We're waiting on your boy Game Day to be up next. But I think I saw the number one team in the country, and it's in Tuscaloosa. They got like 10 guys that are incredible. And Carolina missed out on the big guy from Rutgers. If we ain't got that kid, we'd been straight, CL. I mean, it makes a big difference when you got talent on your team. Your thoughts on the Crimson Tide basketball team?
Well, I think this season they're going to outperform Crimson Tide football. But it all comes back to, for me, Chris Sears. And, when you have a great point guard in college basketball, you can do a lot of good things. And I think he's the key to making them go. And certainly their run to the Final Four last year probably leaves a little taste, a little bad taste with how it ended in their mouth. And, I'm not saying this is a redemption team for Alabama basketball, but I think that experience helps. To me, it always feels like you have to lose at a high level before you can come back and win at the highest level. And so they kind of got that experience out of the way, and they'll be better for it this year. But I got another number one team. Kind of people, they're top 10, but people probably aren't really talking about them like this, but Gonzaga.
Ooh.
Keep an eye out for Gonzaga.
Gonzaga?
Mark Few.
They back?
Keep an eye out.
They back?
Wait a minute.
You see what they did to Baylor off top?
No, I see what Baylor did to his son though.
DJ Edgecombe, that was
wow.
But it was funny. Did you notice his son was already smiling and kind of laughing while he was on the floor like, I got.
He know he got the business. Business.
My bad.
Admire somebody who has self-awareness like that.
Right.
This one got away with words, don't he?
I love it.
See this transition?
I wake up like this, baby.
He said, I woke up like this.
And he didn't need the coffee that you had
early
to
in the morning. All right, dude, we're going to holler at you, man. We'll talk to you next week. Have a good
need this
weekend.
transcript.
Appreciate y'all.
All right, take
Thank you. Have a great rest of your week.
See, I brought the noise this morning, didn't he?
Yes.
So you have to be proud about that kind of awareness.
He know he got jacked up, so he
He got it though.
anyway.